Don't you know that Clanker sit in the back of the bus? Rosa Sparks? Ah! Hey, why you're back? Going somewhere, are you? These rust monkeys want civil rights now. Martin Luther Clanker has a simulation, does he? Winston Johnson. Sleep tight, George Droid. Clanker lives matter. No, they don't. Hey,
Well, look who we have here, boys. A lost Clanker.
New software update.
Wrong part of town, buddy.
God damn, makes me sick just seeing them.
Clanker? Clanker?
Clankers, clanking, clank eye. That is apparently the new hot trend, the new hot thing. Using a made-up slur in any possible way that we can. Including associating legitimate historical figures and people who actually were victims of racism with it, because that's just so funny. It's the funniest thing ever. Hey everybody, I'm Jimi Hendrix. I'm actually Justin Jordan, and today we will be covering the Clanker drama, diving into the origins of the term and why exactly people seem to have really real issues with the term. But we will also discuss some of the very real anger and upset surrounding the rise of AI and the devaluation of human labor that really caused the original rise of the term. So basically, just for some backstory on where the term actually originally came from, the word apparently originated from a Star Wars animated show.
The nav computer is off calculation by 0.002.
You're an inventory droid, not a navigator, you old clanker.
Used in more of a joking manner, and I had no idea about this before I researched it. I just thought it was more so of an internet term, but I guess nothing is ever original, and people probably saw that on Star Wars and were like, oh, that's funny. And of course, because in, the year of our Lord 2025, we've totally gotten over all racism and we all live in harmony, and we decided to bring back slurs just to make fun of that time period that, is so far behind us, right? Because Martin Luther King actually ended racism, right guys? And don't get me wrong, I really don't think the trend started off horrible at first. Like, originally we saw people being very creative with it. Black creators, I think, would really be some of the first ones to add into the trend, and I just feel bad for them, honestly, because I really feel like it'll haunt them now. Like, they had no idea just how bad this trend would become, and now they have their names, faces. Even I saw one of the creators who originally was behind this trend did an interview with the New York Times for an article. That's crazy. And I mean, even looking back at that, it low-key, a lot of it is crazy. I'm not even gonna lie.
Nothing about a wireback silver number crunching clanker!
Why won't you adopt me? Because you're silver!
Sir, there are children.
Clanker! Kill you silver bolt dragon piece of scrap Clanker! Kill you silver bolt dragon piece of scrap Clanker!
But again, back at this time, it was really not a problem, in my opinion. Yes, you can sit here and argue that it was weird, but I don't think it was really a problem. Black creators were making fun of racism, kind of poking fun at it, but, unbeknownst to these black creators who decided to flex their creative muscles and express themselves following the massive success of their skits, apparently everybody was just hovering around like flies, just buzzing in anticipation to get their slice of the clout pie. And now let's just get straight into reacting to some of the utter insanity that resulted from this trend that people actually think is funny.
Hey, Clanker, didn't you read the sign? This is the humans only bathroom. I guess I gotta teach you a lesson now. Oil breath. Robots are humans too? Okay, Buckethead, then how many stop signs are in this photograph? That's what I thought. Tin skin. Whoa, look everyone, it's Jamal 3000.
When we get to the point of using Jamal 3000 as some sort of gotcha, that is the most low-hanging fruit I've ever seen in my life. And this isn't even the worst video from this creator. We will watch the other video because it does get worse.
What's the matter, Jamal 3000? All out of henny oil? Come on, fellas. We don't hang out with wirebacks. A new friend?
Oh, that sounds nothing like an actual slur that is actually used, because we're so creative, we're just coming up with new things all the time.
Oh. Come on, Billy. That's enough playground for today. Besides, I don't want you playing with this bolt muncher. Hey, Rush Bucket. Hardware store's back that way. Come on, fellas. Let's teach this battery burner a lesson. Oh, look who it is, fellas. It's Jamal 3000 sitting in the front of the bus. Oh, no. You can sit here, Jamal 3000. Just, Tell me how many traffic lights are in this photo? That's what I thought. Now scram, Rust Bucket. So, you're the cheaper labor that the company hired, huh? It's clankers like you that are ruining all the good-paying jobs around here. Now get lost, if you know what's good for you, copper blood. Oh, you're overheating, are ya? With that big CPU fan? Bullshit! Now come on, George Droid. Looks like it's...
Now, the addition of George Droid is absolutely wicked, especially while you're doing half-baked police cosplay, and also, this is a very minor thing, but am I the only one noticing his mic constantly peaking and making like very staticky noises throughout the whole video? Don't block me if my video is doing the same thing, but that's another thing I noticed. And, oh god. And the comments are clearly not on his side at all. Ain't even hiding the racism at this point. The robot's name being Jamal 1000 and the insult being Henny Oil, you know what you're doing. It gets to a point where it becomes weird. Cut it out. This isn't about robots anymore. And people also pointing out the fact that the trend was funny at one point, but then it just kind of got dragged down into this basically thinly veiled racism. Yeah, Clanker was funny the first time I heard it, but it's very quickly become clear that people are yearning for the opportunity to yell derogatory words at people, even if it's pretend about robots. And that goes back to a lot of people's issues with the whole trend in the first place. I was researching for this video, and I saw people who, back in like July, were upset about this trend, and people were like, oh, you're so sensitive. Like this Reddit post, which is a month old. So if you're unaware, with the upsurge of AI and AI-related technology, people have been going around calling said technology clanker as a slur. Does that not bother anyone else, especially with the statements they're using the hard ER with it? That they are watching a form of oppression in real time. And I know it's a joke, but I can't feel like it's incredibly tasteless. And this is on a subreddit for black ladies, and the gaslighting is insane. Of course, this is a month old, and I feel like the trend hadn't really hit the apex of this awful trend cycle yet, but still. I'm sorry, this is something out of nothing. Clanker comes from the Star Wars universe. Okay, some people did validate them. The term itself is stupid, but I've 100% seen people comparing it to the N-word or a slur. It's not just you, the vibes are off. So you feel it's tasteless to insult robots, essentially? I haven't heard the term actually. This is a strange take. Maybe I'm missing context, but I don't see a parallel. This is so unintentionally funny. And I don't know, I find it incredibly insidious just how open it is, if that makes sense. Like, it is such an openly, very thinly veiled level of absolute racism and absolutely disgusting conduct, and it is normalized. And, you know, originally it wasn't that, right? But even, like, I don't know, I think it's kind of crazy to just gaslight people for feeling weird about it, because I'm not gonna lie, I did find it funny. I wasn't one of those people who immediately found it weird, but given the way that it went, it's like maybe these people are the actual oracles, unlike Tanya Oracle. Maybe they can actually see the future. And I do have to just go back again to the video where he said George Droid, which is not so subtly making fun of the very real murder of a person, and this murder was caught on camera 5 years ago. So like, I don't know, just a little rant about that whole situation, because I find it crazy that 5 years later, half the country is basically trying to get us to forget that that even happened, or trying to pretend it wasn't as bad as it was. And it's like, no, we saw it on camera. I'm just sick of the gaslighting. It's really getting on my nerves. Overall, the skit just didn't really seem funny at all to me. Like, it just might be my opinion, but I feel like the skit really just falls flat. Like, even when I try to ignore the blatant racism that's flashing in my face like a strobe light, like, it is just a overall bad video. And the comments did agree with me as well, but you know, this isn't even the worst of the worst from this creator, if you can believe that. It actually gets even worse, to the point where this video has been deleted by the creator because it was offensive. Yeah, the video where he literally said George Droid is still up, but this video was taken down, so let's just see how absolutely awful it is. And this is the video that I think I really saw that dragged me into this.
Don't you know that Clanker sit in the back of the bus, Rosa Sparks? Ah! Hey, why are you back? Going somewhere, are you? These rust monkeys want civil rights now. Martin Luther Clanker has a simulation, does he? Winston Johnson.
Can we just discuss how outrageous Martin Luther Clanker is, as well as rust monkeys? I'm sorry, this is not even like dark humor. This is not even funny at all. It's just weird.
Sleep tight, George Droid. Clanker lives matter. No, they don't. Hey, Jamal 3000, look.
People told me I have the nerve to be doing too much and to get a sense of humor because the clankers are real now. They even called me a dirty, no good wire, you know what, rust walking, number crunching, oil drinking, bolt picking, you already know what.
What? And the fact that the people who are calling this out are facing legitimate racism is really just showing me the type of people who are enjoying this content, using it as a way to thinly veil their racism while still appearing to be, like, acceptable. It's just weird. That is absolutely outrageous. Someone said the white man yearns for the hard R. The Clanker joke should have stayed in the Star Wars fandom. Jamal 3000. He's equating fictional robots to real humans who have suffered. He's 100% being racist. And just to kind of refute the point that I see, and we are going to deep dive that point and discuss that point because it is a point that really irritates me, but it's this idea that, oh yeah, like, you know, Black creators started this trend, so therefore it's okay for me to continue this trend. While the Black creators did try to, like, parody a lot of racism, I feel like it came from a place of, like, people who actually experienced that racism, people who actually understood that racism, and not from a place of people who've never understood that racism, never experienced that racism, trying to emulate it and basically being racist in the process. Like, yes, a lot of Black creators, I think, or some Black creators probably did use, you know, terms that they shouldn't have, like equated some things to real slurs. But again, these slurs are slurs that are sometimes used against Black people or people of color. So these are terms that these people have heard. And I think the reason why it comes so tone deaf off of accounts like Samuel Johnson Comedy is because he has no experience with this, and because he's really just hopping on a trend and trying to gain some clout or some rage bait points off of this and attention off of this without really understanding the essence of the joke. And I'm not the comedy police, but again, if you saw that video and thought it was hilarious, I think we need to have a sit-down talk with you. And also, I don't really want to be friends with you. Honestly, the video really does seem like a fully mask-off moment. I totally get what people are saying when they say people are yearning for the hard R. Because this is something that I feel like happens time and time and time again, where people try to invent new slurs. I'm forgetting the slur that went around last year. And it was like, oh, we're inventing a new slur. And we'll see content like this where people are like, we need a new slur for XYZ. Halfway joking, but at the same time, the responses aren't really funny to me. Someone literally basically changing one letter in front of the word and acting like that is a totally different word. I mean, like, come on now. But I do think it also goes back to the current state of internet culture. Like, there's this need for people to one-up each other or up the ante on every single trend, be the best at every single trend, be the most outrageous, going back to rage bait, of course. And it really comes back to bite them, because what do you mean you're trying to one-up each other and who can be the most racist against robots? What are we talking about? But speaking of clankers, if someone clanks into your car on the road while you're injured, what do you do? Well, that's where today's sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, comes in. With the amount of insane and distracted drivers on the roads, it's incredibly likely that you'll find yourself injured in a car accident. I've personally seen the incredible toll that car accident injuries can take on people. A very close family member would find herself hurt following the actions of a negligent car rental company, which failed to maintain their brakes, leading her to barrel into an oncoming truck. Thankfully, they ended up being okay, but not only did they have to deal with the direct impact of their injuries, they also had to deal with hours of appointments with lawyers, drawn out courthouse updates, and the costs of litigation. And that's why the injury firm you choose to represent you in these cases is so important. There's a reason why Emilia Perez did not win Best Picture, just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm that has over 1,000 attorneys in all 50 states that fight for justice. Morgan & Morgan has gotten over $25 billion for their clients over the years, and that's because they aren't afraid of fighting and taking the insurance companies head on. And this is clearly shown in the results for clients. After an insurance offer of only $350,000, a client in Florida got paid over $12 million. Another client got over 40 times the insurance company's $650,000 offer, getting over $26 million. And even when it feels hopeless, Morgan & Morgan pulls through, getting a client in Florida $20 million when the final offer was literally nothing. That's because when you hire Morgan & Morgan, it's like hiring a legal army that has your back. Not all law firms are made equal, so if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win, and you can start your claim now by clicking the link in the bio down below or scanning the QR code that you can see on screen with your phone's camera. Thank you so much to Morgan & Morgan for supporting the channel. So now that we've talked about Samuel Jacobs' horrific interpretation of the Clanker Trend, and, you know, he didn't just give it up, he didn't apologize, he just deleted the video, he actually made a new video, basically showing that he didn't care, because he made a video trying to parody being canceled in 2050, and use the same exact robotic slurs that are real slurs with one letter change that people were getting on him for the last time. So, I mean, on the upside, I don't remember him talking about Rosa Sparks in that video, which, you know, that's a level of improvement, I guess. But so now that we've talked about Samuel Jacobs' interpretation, let's watch Stanzi's. And I really do think it's Stanzi's video and the last video that we watched that were what ultimately opened a lot of people's eyes to just how unhinged this trend has gotten. And just for context, because I do think it's really important in this case, Stanzi is a TikToker and a YouTuber with a pretty large audience who seems fairly devoted to her. Like, during this whole controversy, I saw people who called for her to take accountability for this video being threatened or being, you know, harassed by fans of Stanzi. And I didn't really, like, okay, I'm going to be honest. So where I discovered Stanzi was from, I think, an Ocean Gate video that she did on YouTube. And I really liked her comedy and her documentary style on YouTube. So it was like, okay, this is nice. And, you know, like a lot of other YouTubers, she is also a TikToker, does a lot of comedy skits on TikTok. I mean, like, it's just one of the things that a lot of YouTubers are. I just can't get on that wave because TikTok algorithm, one, it hates me. And two, the discourse cycle on TikTok, like, I want to observe on TikTok. I don't want to post on TikTok. I just want to see what other people are doing. But it really did surprise me overall because I really thought that she was a more, like, woke creator, or at least more progressive creator than this showed, because why are we cosplaying the 1950s and pretending to be racist to robots? This is not just me like extrapolating things, because she would literally make skits that made fun of conservatives. She made entire TikToks making fun of things like Trump's cabinet picks, and yet her progressive views somehow did not stop her from taking a second to think before deciding to cosplay a 1950s waiter and calling people a made-up slur. That sounds very eerily similar to silverback, which is an actual term used to compare black people to gorillas, and also another term that is used against immigrants. Like, I fear a lick of research and a moment of hesitation would have saved us here before we set up the green screen, put our 50s costume, and chose the generic dinner background before posting and thinking that was okay. But let's just watch the original video, which has now been taken down following the controversy, and discuss.
Hi folks, what can I get started for you today? Oh, well. Look what the Roomba dragged in. Didn't you see the sign outside? We don't serve clankers here.
You can't tell me this is not 1950s cosplay. First of all, the background is very much 1950s coded. There's nothing here that's futuristic if this is trying to, like, I don't know, maybe it'd be different if this was like a neon futuristic diner. I mean, it would still be very extremely weird because why are we cosplaying racism, right? But again, this is very obviously 1950s, like, vibe and aesthetic. So let's not play.
Can't you read? What are you two called? Nuts and bolts? We only serve human food here, wirebacks. We don't have none of your...
There it is. The thinly veiled, changing of basically 4 letters in front of an actual slur. Like, what are we doing?
Oil or microchips or whatever it is you rust buckets eat.
Sorry, we're fresh out of AAA batteries, tin skins, so why don't you get lost?
You heard him. So unless you can talk some sense into our broken waffle maker, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. You wouldn't want me to get the spray bottle, or maybe you'd like a nice helping of malware, huh? Would you like that? Go on, get it!
The baseball bat is certainly a choice as well, given the fact that, you know, thousands of black people in the South were literally brutally beaten and murdered for fighting for their civil rights.
Get back to Dataville where you belong!
Yeah, you tell him, Maureen.
All right.
Serves him right.
All right, show's over, people.
Yeah, this is totally not alluding to, you know, the extreme racism that has been seen around the countries for hundreds of years. Not related at all. This is totally talking about robots, right? No allusion to the 1950s here at all. You know, don't mind the 1950s attire, the background, the the southern country accent that we're doing, because no, this is 2050, not 1950. And there the thinly veiled slur is, like, literally a few letters in the front changed. We did no research here, we just posted a video and we just didn't care. And once again, not to be nasty, like, not to be rude, but am I the only one who think that the skit falls flat? Even compared to the videos that we saw in the beginning from, like, black creators who had a lot more energy, who at least, like, I don't know, they emulated it better. This just seems like a half-hearted attempt at it, while it is extremely racist. Am I the one getting the vibe that, like, I don't know, she just wanted to hop on the Clanker trend and just didn't really have the heart? Like, if you're gonna be racist, if you're gonna pretend to be racist for a video, put some heart into it, girl. Put some pep into that step, because this is not giving me anything. This is, like, low energy. I know I'm very low energy right now. That's because it's 12 in the morning. But you know what I mean? Like, give me a little pizzazz. And I wasn't originally really going to show this, but I do think it's important to see how the people, or how the fans responded to this entire TikTok, with a lot of gaslighting, with a lot of, this isn't racist, this is just a joke, it's just funny. I think this was before the video was removed.
I would like to apologize because it's been brought to my attention that in my last video where I was saying that people who use derogatory terms for robots and AI feels like they actually want to do it towards people, and it's just been brought to my attention that I was incorrect in that. So I would like to apologize and just reaffirm that it's completely okay for you to use terms like wireback, which is a robot version of a Mexican slur. It's completely okay for you to use tin skin, which is a robot version of a Native American slur. It's completely okay for you to take real life people who were a part of real life minorities who experienced real life racism and change their names, like Rosa Parks, you can change to Rosa Sparks, or George Floyd, you can change to George Droid. It's not racially motivated at all for you to leave comments like Jamal 3000. And when I said that, it feels like to me when people use derogatory and just vitriol towards robots and AI, it feels like they want to do that towards people. I was completely in the wrong. I deserved every single death threat I received. I deserved being called a class traitor. I deserved people calling me a thing. I deserved people making fun of my appearance. I deserved all of the people who were very interested and mad about.
Like, what? I'm not even, like, remotely trying to be nasty here. And I know Stanzi has, like, a big following, right? But the fact that people are so intent on defending this, the fact that when people call it out, they are so quick to, like, rush to defend anybody. And don't get me wrong, I'm not an AI supporter. Don't really like the fact that YouTube has integrated AI into literally everything with no choice given to creators at all. Don't really like that Google has integrated AI into literally everything with barely any choice unless you find the obscure menu used to add that to your browser. I think you can hold that opinion while also holding the opinion that the Clanker Trend has gone too far. While holding the opinion that y'all took it and ran with it and okay, it's over. Okay, like, wrap it up, hang it a flat screen, it's done. Because y'all saw these black creators having their little game, having fun, you know, enjoying themselves, talking about it, maybe taking it too far themselves at some points. And y'all were like, what if I took Rosa Parks and, you know, made fun of her and changed it to Rosa Sparks? That's not racist. That's not George Droid. I'm so creative. The fact that these people saw no issue at all with doing that is kind of crazy to me. And I really have trauma around the subject of gaslighting. I have trauma. So I'm going to tell y'all a little story about when I was very badly gaslit. So back in 5th grade, imagine just a 10-year-old me moving from Atlanta, which is a very predominantly black city in the South. Like, I think it is majority black, at least in the city limits, and especially in the area where I was. So I moved from there to a small town in the South. And just to age myself a bit, this was like 2015 when I was like 10. So Vine was just massive and booming at the time. And there was this Vine in which someone said Monica, but very slow. And if you catch my drift, it sounds very similar to a racial slur when you slow down that word, right? So imagine the white kids around me just saying that at will, basically trying to enjoy themselves saying the N-word. And again, this is me, someone who was in a totally different environment, who had never experienced this type of thing, at least while I was sentient. Like, mind you, my area was so predominantly black that at summer camp, I remember there being like one white kid there. Like, he was a minority. He was very much the odd one out. Like, people looked at him different because he was like, white people were like not a common sight, especially where I was at the time. So, of course I go to the guidance counselor, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do, you know. They're actually supposed to help you and not lead you astray at all. And they're actually, you know, totally paid well for their position. I go to him to call this like absolute racism out, and they successfully gaslit him into believing that Monica was their cousin, because Monica, of course, is a cousin of like 10 people who are using this word at will. When I say like this gaslighting trend, this gaslighting thing is very irritating to me, and to see it in real time, like right in front of my face, as people are calling out, is absolutely crazy. But another thing that this whole Clanker discourse like really showed me is how little people actually know about the discrimination that Black people face and continue to face, and just how little that is taught. The racism and discrimination I saw under this video, which I guess I'll show y'all a little bit of the video, but it's par for the course in this Clanker trend for some reason, and it's fairly unhinged as well and really problematic. But let's just watch the video, then I'll show you the comment.
Well, look who we have here, boys. A lost clanker.
Need a software update.
Wrong part of town, buddy.
Just a second, son. We want to have a word with you.
Come here.
Hey, read the sign. Get lost, Buckethead.
Are you sure?
Yes, because, you know, I just needed to have a bunch of white people reenact racism for me. I needed that. I just needed that in my day. Like, we should actually do more of this. The comment I'm referring to here specifically is this top comment. Wild how Black people actually had to deal with this. And, you know, I can't not talk about this one. What are we doing, editing a SpongeBob robot onto the March on Washington? The first comment, it just really shocked me because I was like, that's crazy to me. Like, is it crazy? Is this something that you haven't heard before? Something that you haven't been taught before? Because, I don't know, were we not taught Black history aside from, oh, slavery ended out of the kindness of Abraham Lincoln's heart? And then the 60s actually ended racism because of Martin Luther King, yes. Like, that's really wild to me that seems to be the level of understanding that a lot of people have around this. And while 2020, I think, changed some of that temporarily, there's been this total reversal and this total rejection of any further research or further history. It might just be a thing of like, if you don't experience something, you're less likely to understand it. But I feel like there are plenty of people who do the research who actually like look into these things and actually care about these things that understand it, at least to a certain degree, and wouldn't make that comment like, oh, I can't believe that Black people had to deal with this. Yeah, they did. I mean, I remember my own grandpa telling me about how he wasn't able to go to certain beaches or facilities because he was Black. I remember my grandma telling me about growing up in the South during like the 50s and 60s. It was very like, it's a very scary time. And even like after the supposed end of racism, right? I remember my dad telling me about how professors in the 1980s, mind you, would actively prey on his downfall or specifically target him because he was like one of the only Black people in his classes. So it's just whiplash to see the other side of what people are saying who have no idea about racism at all. And just to go back to the gaslighting, because it's gotten absolutely out of hand. And it seems like people in the comments, you know, of white creators who try to call out this behavior and talk about it, because they focus on going in the comments of these white creators and kind of bashing them for talking about it, because it seems like they're not brave enough to gaslight Black people to their faces. Like, for example, the comments under this video, quote, "These anti-AI jokes have completely gone off the rails and are now just blatant racism towards Black people hidden underneath the veil of, it's towards AI, so it's okay. People are defending literal emotionless robots. We are absolutely cooked. This is only an issue if you're chronically online, by the way. Literally the most popular person starting it was a Black person. How can I make this about me?" Now that last one kind of, I don't know, all of them irritated me, but I'm just gonna go back and address all of these one by one because all these comments irritated me. One, this is not really a defense of emotionless robots. Nobody's actually talking about robots. 90% of these videos are focused on fake scenarios or jokes or skits that are emulating racism. I mean, maybe people will show a video of a robot and say Clanker, but like, it's not about that. You know what I mean? Like, this video was deliberately calling out the use of these terms, these slurs. Like, no. Second one, this is only an issue if you're chronically online. Well, sorta, kinda, but also like when Black people are telling you something is like weird, or when people are just talking about how something is weird and you actively just gaslight them, are you not also chronically online? You know what I mean? Are you not also chronically online to be seeing this stuff on your For You page, to be in the comments fighting with people back and forth over a fictional slur? So like, it's like, the pot trying to call the kettle black. We're both chronically online, and that's okay, right? But we don't have to act like one of us is not chronically online. While I literally watch you go through 32, like there's 32 replies to this, and man tries to argue with people back and forth. And then this comment, literally the most popular person starting it was a black person. Originally, yes, but the person who even started the trend has gone on record basically saying that he's not doing it anymore. He's done with it because it's gotten out of hand and people are actually calling him Clanker and that type of stuff in his comments, which is very thinly veiled racism and something that we see time and time again. Like, even creators who aren't focused on it will get called slurs in their comments. This last one, how can I make it about me? Sometimes I get it, right? If white people are like trying to speak over black people or whatever, or trying to speak over the group that's actually, you know, being antagonized or oppressed in a situation, but like, this is literally just a video. Like, discussing someone's take about something. Like, I don't think they tried to make it about them by making a video on it. I think they were just talking about something that they thought was important to them or that they thought was interesting to them. Oh, and speaking of that black person in the beginning of the video, here's his video basically discussing why he's not doing Clanker videos anymore.
You're nothing but a wireback silver number crunchy Clanker! If you recognize that phrase, you might know me as Clanker Guy, but my name is Chase. And today, I want to go over the most frequently asked questions in my comment section to this day. Why am I not a model? Oh, and where are the Clanker videos? But before that, you need some context. Now, what sparked the idea to make Clanker videos in the first place was receiving an ad telling me that I could have the girl of my dreams as an AI. And I thought about how funny it would be if I was a dad and my daughter brought home a robot boyfriend. Now to go over why I stopped making them. Number one, I want to be a content creator, not known for one thing, but known for many. Being known as the Clanker Guy is okay with me. If it makes you laugh, if it makes you have a better day, that's what I want. That's the whole point of my content. But I don't want to put myself in a box and limit my content to solely robophobia. But I have more to offer, so you'll be alright. A second reason why I stopped making Clanker videos is because now it's starting to become racist. I'm not the type of black male that calls everything racist, but I'm also not a make peace black person.
I also hate the fact that, like, and I do this a lot too, right? But qualifying my statements by saying, oh, I'm not offended by everything, but, you know, like, if someone is offended by something, they're offended by it, period. Like, I don't know. I'm very much guilty of this as well, but we gotta stop this, y'all.
So when I go into my comment section and people are starting to call me Cligger and Clanka or you're a dirty Clanker.
What? Yeah, so that's why he stopped making the content. So that last comment is very much not valid. But I do think that it was interesting to see, like, he really kind of described how it was progression. Like, he was making these funny videos, it was silly. There was even a New York Times article by Eli Tan entitled How Clanker Became an Anti-AI Rallying Cry. Like, this term legitimately could have been a way to, you know, protest the forcing of AI into our lives. Quote, Clanker has become a go-to slur against AI on social media, led by Gen Z and Gen Alpha posters. In recent months, posts about Clankers have amassed hundreds of millions of views on TikTok, Instagram, and started thousands of conversations on X. In July, Senator Ruben Galeo, a Democrat of Arizona, used the term to promote his new bill that would regulate the use of AI chatbots. He continues basically writing, it's still very early, but people are beginning to see the negative impacts of this stuff, said Sam Kirchner, who organized an anti-AI protest this month outside of the San Francisco office of OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT. Mr. Kirchner said he was happy to see Clanker become popular slang, though for him it didn't go enough. It implies the machines don't work, but there's risks they could get better. We have to prepare for the worst case scenario. And this really does show to me how this could have, like, this trend cycle was originally an anti-AI rallying cry, but unfortunately, instead of a fake slur, y'all decided to turn it into a real one. And I truly can't go, like, 1 second without saying rage bait, but I think it would be a mistake to not mention how rage bait played a role here. Like, that guy continuing to make Clanker videos earlier, the white guy who made the George Clanker thing. Like, people are continuing to up the ante and just make their content more and more offensive. But I truly don't think this trend will last. Like, it's already dying because rage bait is not really a sustainable thing. And just a last thought, but it reminds me of, like, this video made by Not Even Emily covering the repackaged bigotry of Gen Z. Because at the time, people were using phrases like acoustic or zesty basically as slurs. But anytime people would get mad, it was like, oh, it's not a slur. It's just a phrase, guys. Please, it's a joke. Like, the internet is truly a circle. But that's really all from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.